The event at the center of this case was the murder of Karen Lane. This tragic incident occurred in the early hours of August 2, 1988. It took place within the confines of her own apartment. The nature of the killing was characterized by extreme violence. Karen Lane was described as having been savagely and brutally murdered. The extent of the injuries indicated a prolonged and vicious assault. The victim, Karen Lane, and the defendant, Gregory Hunt, had been in a relationship. Their connection was a key element in understanding the context of the crime. The relationship provided a backdrop for the events that unfolded. The duration of their relationship was relatively brief. They had been dating for approximately 1 month prior to the incident. This short time frame did not diminish the intensity of the interactions between them. Events immediately preceding the crime included a significant conflict. The fight occurred between Karen Lane and Gregory Hunt. This altercation set the stage for the subsequent violence. Following the fight, Hunt allegedly attempted to track Lane's location. This action suggested a continued engagement or pursuit after their dispute. It indicated a potential motive or state of mind leading up to the murder. A key witness provided crucial testimony regarding the events. This witness reported seeing Gregory Hunt enter Karen Lane's apartment. The sighting placed Hunt at the scene shortly before the crime. The same witness later observed Hunt leaving the apartment. This observation established his presence at the location during the critical period. His departure was noted after the time frame when the loud noises were heard. The witness also reported hearing loud noises emanating from the apartment. These sounds occurred during the critical time frame of the incident. The noises were consistent with a violent struggle taking place inside. The testimony provided by this witness was highly significant. It directly placed Gregory Hunt at the scene of the crime. This evidence was a cornerstone of the prosecution's case against him. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. The formal legal process in the case commenced several months after the crime. This phase began in March of 1989. The initiation of legal proceedings marked the start of the path towards trial. Following the investigation, a formal indictment was issued against Gregory Hunt. This indictment contained 3 specific counts. Each count represented a distinct legal basis for the murder charge. The specific charges detailed in the indictment were grave. The first count alleged intentional murder during the course of sexual abuse. This charge highlighted the brutal nature of the attack. The second count specified intentional murder during sexual abuse by forcible compulsion. This charge emphasized the lack of consent and the use of force. It further underscored the violent sexual component of the crime. The third count charged intentional murder during the commission of a burglary. This count suggested Hunt's unlawful entry into Lane's apartment. It provided an additional legal framework for the murder charge. Each of these charges carried the potential for the most severe penalty under the law at the time. A conviction on any of the 3 counts could result in a capital sentence. The stakes of the trial were therefore exceptionally high. The trial against Gregory Hunt commenced on June 19, 1990. This marked the beginning of the formal court proceedings. The presentation of evidence and arguments to the jury began on this date. After hearing the evidence and deliberations, the jury rendered its verdict. The jury found Gregory Hunt guilty on all 3 counts of the indictment. This unanimous finding confirmed the prosecution's allegations. Following the guilty verdict, the trial proceeded to the sentencing phase. The jury was tasked with recommending a sentence to the court. The jury recommended the death penalty for Gregory Hunt. The jury's vote on the sentencing recommendation was overwhelmingly in favor of death. The vote was recorded as 11-1. This near-unanimous decision reflected the jury's assessment of the crime's severity. The court subsequently followed the jury's recommendation. The presiding judge formally sentenced Gregory Hunt to death. This judicial act finalized the trial court's judgment. Gregory Hunt's conviction and sentence were subject to direct appeal. The appellate courts reviewed the trial proceedings for errors. The conviction and sentence were ultimately affirmed on direct appeal. Expert testimony played a critical role in detailing the crime's brutality. This testimony was provided by Dr. Joseph Embry. Dr. Embry was associated with the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences. Dr. Embry's examination documented the extensive nature of the victim's injuries. A total of 60 distinct injuries were recorded. This high number indicated a sustained and violent assault. Specific injuries were catalogued during the forensic examination. Among these were 20 separate injuries to the victim's head. These head injuries suggested repeated blows or impacts. The examination also revealed severe skeletal trauma. There were 12 fractured ribs found on the left side of the victim's body. This indicated significant force applied to the chest area. Similarly, 12 fractured ribs were documented on the right side. The bilateral nature of the rib fractures further highlighted the intensity of the assault. Both sides of the rib cage sustained extensive damage. The victim also suffered a fractured breastbone or sternum. This injury is typically caused by powerful direct force to the chest. It added to the pattern of severe blunt force trauma. Internal injuries were also present and documented. Bruises were found within the victim's heart muscle. This indicated the force of the blows was sufficient to affect internal organs. The liver sustained significant damage. There were 3 distinct tears found in the victim's liver. These internal lacerations were life-threatening injuries. Bruises were also observed in the victim's lungs. This suggested trauma to the chest cavity impacting the respiratory organs. The force of the assault affected multiple vital systems. A severe vascular injury was identified. There was a 3/4-inch tear to the victim's aorta. Damage to this major artery would have caused rapid and fatal internal bleeding. The pancreas also showed signs of trauma. A bruised pancreas was noted during the examination. This further indicated the widespread impact of the assault on internal organs. Bleeding was found in the neck muscles. This type of injury can result from strangulation or forceful manipulation of the neck. It suggested potential asphyxiation attempts or related trauma. Evidence of sexual assault was also presented. The findings indicated that Karen Lane was forced to commit sex acts. This evidence supported the sexual abuse charges in the indictment. Testimony suggested the use of an object in the sexual assault. Specifically, a broom handle was indicated as having been used for further sexual assault. This detail underscored the depravity and violence of the attack. The significance of the forensic evidence was profound. It corroborated the extreme brutality of the crime. The detailed injury report strongly supported the charges brought against Gregory Hunt. The announcement regarding Gregory Hunt's execution was made by the relevant state authority. This information was released by the Alabama Department of Corrections, or ADOC. The ADOC oversees the state's correctional system and executions. The method of execution designated for Gregory Hunt was nitrogen hypoxia. This method represents an alternative to traditional lethal injection. It involves causing death through oxygen deprivation. Nitrogen hypoxia involves the inhalation of nitrogen gas. The gas is delivered through a mask fitted over the inmate's face. Breathing pure nitrogen displaces oxygen in the lungs and bloodstream. The process causes death by asphyxiation. This occurs due to the complete lack of oxygen reaching the brain and vital organs. The body is deprived of the oxygen necessary for life. Nitrogen hypoxia has been described as a relatively new method for capital punishment. Alabama was among the first states to authorize and implement this technique. Its use has drawn significant attention and debate. The use of nitrogen hypoxia for Hunt's execution received necessary legal and executive approval. It was approved by the Alabama Supreme Court. This judicial body affirmed the legality of the method in this case. The execution was also announced by the state's chief executive. Governor Kay Ivey made the public announcement regarding the scheduled execution. The governor's approval is required for executions to proceed. An execution window was set for Gregory Hunt. The window was scheduled for June 10th to 11th, 2024. This 2-day period allowed for the execution to be carried out within a specific time frame. The execution was scheduled to take place at a specific correctional facility. The location was the William Holman Correctional Facility. This facility houses Alabama's death row and execution chamber. The execution of Gregory Hunt held particular significance regarding the method used. Hunt was the second person executed by nitrogen hypoxia in the state of Alabama. His case further established the state's use of this new method.